Speedway. Our NASCAR coverage continues live on FS1. It's time for qualifying in the NASCAR Xfinity Series presented by Geico. Later on today, it's the season opener, the Powershares QQQ 300. For the race, there's going to be sunshine. Right now, we've got cloud cover 65, and I would say the track in perfect condition for speed. So good to have you with us from the world's center of racing, along with two-time Daytona 500 winner Michael Waltrip. I'm Adam Alexander. So, Michael, I say to you as we get ready to qualify, it doesn't matter where you start for this race, and you say what?
I say you're wrong, Xfinity Breath. You need to be up front. Look at Ryan Reed. He started on the front row last year and drove to victory lane.
Okay, 2 years ago, Chase Elliott won this race. He qualified 19th. What do you say about that?
Solid top 20 starting position for Chase Elliott. Adam, this session is all about the team. The team is tweaked and tuned on that race car to try to grab all the speed out of it that's possible. You go out there today, lay down a hot lap, the competition will notice that. When you're drafting, they'll want to line up behind you. It certainly helps to have a fast car in qualifying, but that experience, what you do once you get to drafting, that'll pay off when the race starts. But still, even if I'm Joey Logano, some of the favorites down there in the garage area, Kyle Larson, I want to be right up front so the competition knows I've got something to race with this afternoon.
Regardless of result here in the qualifying session, what does that do to set the tone for your day?
I just think your team has worked so hard to bring a fast car to Daytona. You want to win every competition, especially at this beautiful racetrack. I've been on the pole here for this Xfinity race, and it's just so rewarding for everybody that works so hard all winter long to bring a fast car to Daytona.
If you've been watching Speed Weeks, you know the Fords are fast. Perhaps we should keep an eye on the last fella you saw there. That's Cole Custer. The cars will be on track when we return. I told you when we went to break, we would return and cars would be on track. Actually, just one car, but the first of the day will be Josh Bilicki in the 45. And how this works, we go single cars, all 46 will make a run, one lap, fastest 12 advance. And the order today is set based on how they practiced yesterday. We go slowest to quickest, and the reason Josh is out first is he did not get on track in the practice session here yesterday.
The 22-year-old from Wisconsin getting to field this racetrack for the first time. The car looks good, and it sounds like it's running okay, Adam. So not practicing yesterday will not keep you from being competitive today. You talked about whether qualifying is important or not. Certainly it is. If you want to win this race, you want to make a statement right now. But if you're in this race this afternoon, Adam, you've got a chance to draft up toward the front, and that's what Bilicki will be looking to do.
Round one of qualifying will determine who's in the field and set the grid for positions 13th through 40th. The top dozen cars move on to round two. We'll find out how we line up in the first 6 rows and decide who will be on the pole later today when we open up 2018 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Bilicki, a young driver out of Wisconsin, road racer.
Looks like that nose is a bit up in the air. That will hurt the speed of that 45 machine. You want that nose to be sealed to the road. We'll watch as the cars progress from slowest to fastest, how the attitudes of these cars do look on the speedway this morning.
The first of 46 cars completing a run in qualifying at Daytona. Here's Bilicki at the line. For him, 50.681 seconds. More from Daytona. 46 cars have been on track in qualifying. The second to go is now the quickest. Greg Galding turns a lap of 49.453 seconds. That's close to 182 miles per hour. Most recent car on track, J.J. Yaley in the 39, and they did not get what they were hoping for. I know they were fighting some engine issues during practice yesterday, so we'll see how it all shakes out. Top 33 cars will make it in on speed today, and then we set the lineup based on the rule book. 66 car is Timmy Hill.
Yeah, and Greg Galding, Josh Bilicki, those times are going to be borderline. They'll be watching closely. I don't think they have enough owner points to make it in per the rule book, as you said, Adam. They needed to be in that top 33. Have to see a few more cars run to see exactly how they stack up, but a little bit off early.
Timmy Hill, as I said, the fourth car on track. That was scheduled to be Mike Harmon. He did not make it to the qualifying line. Therefore, he has been put on the 5-minute clock. We'll watch his progress as Timmy Hill comes across the start-finish line, records a lap of 49.511 seconds. That's good enough for second so far. I made a run in qualifying. NASCAR Xfinity Series on track at Daytona International Speedway on this Saturday morning. Most recent of those is Morgan Shepherd. He is third of those 5 vehicles that have made a run, 49.805 seconds. 3 of our drivers have gone on the south side of 50 seconds. And our 6th driver to qualify this morning, Chad Fincham, out of Knoxville, Tennessee.
And this is a great feeling. The 23-year-old is trying to make his first start here at Daytona. And man, Adam, this is what you dream of as a kid. Growing up through go-karts, late models, whatever you do, you're thinking Daytona in the back of your mind. And when that dream comes true, wow, what a feeling.
His qualifying run is complete. He's 5th. 51.453. Next up, Stephen Light in the 55. It's from Asheville, North Carolina. Remember that win he had back in your home state, 2007, Michael, Kentucky Speedway. Special moment for Stephen in his career.
Pretty big upset that night.
It was.
It reminded me of, do you remember when David Gilliland did the same thing at Kentucky?
At the same track. I mean, real similar situation when those 2 drivers won there.
And I remember tuning in on the TV that night and seeing David Gilliland leading, I think it was a black number 84 car. I mean, I just like, well, okay, where'd he get this car and why is he going so fast? But Gilliland put it on him, and man, he was impressive last night in the truck race too.
He started on the pole.
Yeah, had a chance to win the race.
Congratulations to Johnny Sauter. Another win for him. 3 wins now here at Daytona in the Truck Series.
And it was just textbook drafting. I mean, he did a great job. His spotter tab Boyd up on the spotter stand.
How fun is he to listen to?
Well, I tell you what, I think I'd like to listen to him tell goodnight stories. I mean, he just relaxes you. And I know Johnny leans on him so much. I just love that relationship. The driver-spotter relationship is important here, especially. You've got to trust what that man's telling you, and that was fun to listen to last night.
Light finished his qualifying run. He slots in 4th of the 7 drivers that have been out. Here's our 8th driver to qualify, the 01 new face in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, Vinnie Miller, driving for Johnny Davis and JD Motorsports. Has a couple of starts under his belt. Did run the truck race last fall at Talladega, where he finished inside the top 10. Youngster out of Michigan. Came up through the go-kart, late model ranks. And as we see one of Johnny Davis's cars on track, want to send our thoughts and prayers to Johnny and his family. Found out yesterday that his father, Harold, passed away. I was talking to Johnny in the garage, and he told me that as a kid they were drag racers. They loved stock car racing, but he would ride with his father and the family and go drag racing, listen to MRN radio, to the NASCAR races as they would travel throughout the weekend. Johnny lost his father yesterday, and we send our thoughts to him. Johnny's such a good guy, means so much to the NASCAR Xfinity Series.
Oh, Miller put it on the pole and somehow spun out.
He went to the top with a time of 49.016, and on the cool down lap lost it, Michael.
See if NASCAR throws the red, which will send.
His teammate Ross Chastain was on track when that happened, making his qualifying effort.
Send him back to the pit road. What most likely happened there, Adam, is he shut that car off to save some temperature in the engine, and maybe it was still in gear. Oh, possibly just carrying too much speed down on the apron. I mean, that apron is really, really flat, and these cars don't like flat surfaces. They're set up for those high banks. They won't handle down there. I don't think he should have went onto the apron, I guess, obviously.
He didn't hit anything, but my fear is he flat spotted those tires, and now he's going to have to go to the back probably.
Just got away from him down there on the flat.
Now, what's this mean for Ross Chastain, who was out on the track, had the thing all warmed up? Now you got to cool it down, right?
Yeah, and that won't hurt Ross at all. He'll put some cold water through the engine, be ready to go again. Might even help a little bit.
True good news, bad news situation for his teammate, Vinnie Miller. He's at the top. Back live at Daytona International Speedway. It's NASCAR Xfinity Series qualifying presented by Geico. Vinnie Miller, the fastest so far for JD Motorsports. That's the good news. Bad news is he went for a spin on his cool down lap. He did that while his teammate, as you saw there, Ross Chastain in the 4 was on track making his qualifying run. So they'll bring the 4 car back down pit road, get him cooled down, and send him out a little bit later on. We've also been informed that Mike Harmon in the 74 will not make a qualifying run. He will have to hope a provisional can get him into today's race. 46 cars here this weekend. Next up, Jeff Green in the 38 for RSS Racing. He's the 2000 champ out of Owensboro, Kentucky.
Yeah, my high school buddy. First go-kart race I ever run, I was riding Jeff's kart. We grew up together and watched him get into the Xfinity series and dominated that 2000 season. I think Harold Holly was up on the box, and they were a potent duo in that number 10 car.
The Nestle car.
Yes, sir.
Bright yellow.
You know who else is from Owensboro, Kentucky?
I think you're going to tell me. Darrell Waltrip.
That's right. And Johnny Depp.
Really? I didn't know Johnny Depp was from Owensboro.
Yes, he is. Born in the same hospital the same year I was.
So is Tommy Chandler, engine tuner.
Sorry,
Joey Logano, who will qualify later and could very well be our pole sitter.
And you know, talking in the garage area yesterday, Adam, I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, the buzz is maybe Logano has got the best car in drafting practice. I know he's a master at using the air to push himself into places and win races. He's so good at it. But I'm hearing his car's running well. He's happy with it, and maybe he could be our favorite this afternoon.
Your high school classmate, Jeff Green, by the way, finished up qualifying. He's second behind Vinnie Miller. 49.227 seconds for Jeff Green in the 38. Here's the 99. Ray Black Jr. driving for B.J. McLeod in 2018. At the line, Ray is fourth out of the 10 cars to go on track this morning. Let's say hello to our pit reporters this morning. And we start off, Matt Yoakum, it's about time you came to work.
Well, we're just scouring the garage and you name it, getting all the news for the Xfinity Series
what's
race
Brendan
today.
Gaughan doing down there?
This is what I was going to talk about. As we come in now, we've got veteran Danny Stockman, a great young gun here in Daniel Hemrick, and I'm not even sure how to describe. He's got Yoda. Is he going to give you any wisdom?
3 words of wisdom. It says it right here.
I told you he looks like Mike Bliss. He needs to. He looks like Mike Bliss right now.
Well, I would say Mike Bliss plus about 80 pounds. So, well, Mike Bliss is like 120 pounds, isn't he?
What the hell is this right? I get retired and I come back to get abused by you 3?
Well, I mean, your outfit here, the flip-flops, you need to get a job if you can afford some jeans that don't have a hole in them.
Well, listen, I got fired, so this is all I got. I mean, he's wearing my suit now.
The good thing is he don't need a job.
Yes, I would agree on that. Hey, Brendan, seriously though, for having a young guy like this to help represent your family's colors, very special to you.
No, absolutely. I mean, he made the Final Four last year, and we knew that it was going to be the last year for me. And for the South, our business model has racing around it. So it worked out great that we had Daniel do it, and we're excited to have him. We think he's going to do great for us, and he dresses and looks better than me. So my dad will be happy about it. My sister-in-law, Sally Gaughan, who runs the sponsorship side, is much happier with him. She yells at me for my appearance. She's going to love him.
Looking at the confidence, though, in 2018 has to be much higher going into the season than a year ago.
No, absolutely. As you can tell, we're having a good time. Everybody on the Southwind Hotel Casino Chevrolet has done a great job already. Just getting prepared for the season, and it makes you feel good as a driver to have a group of guys like that behind you and make you feel good. So, we're having a lot of fun. Obviously, Brendan's relaxed, I'm relaxed, everybody's relaxed. Just happy to be here at Daytona.
At least you could get the jeans hemmed a little bit so they're not dragging.
That's what I try to tell him, but hey, he is who he is, and everybody loves it.
That's true. Guys?
He's got that relaxed Las Vegas attitude, doesn't he?
But isn't it great that he kept the sponsor in the series and is a continued support of Richard Childress Racing?
Certainly. It just tells you how well NASCAR works for sponsorship. I mean, that's a great company, great brand, and it's on the side of a great driver's car. I'm looking forward to watching Daniel this year. He was so fun at the end of 17. I think it could be a big story this year. And by the way, Adam, that wasn't Brendan's suit.
No. I'd like to see him get in that suit. Maybe we can do a feature on that. Ryan Ellis made his qualifying run while Matt was visiting with the fellas. He's second of 11 cars that have been out, 49.116. Here's Spencer Boyd out of St. Louis, Missouri. The Grunt-style Chevrolet is 6th. 12 of 46 cars have made a qualifying run so far at Daytona. A Saturday morning from Daytona International Speedway. It's Xfinity Series qualifying for the Powershares QQQ later on today. You'll see it live on FS1, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Saw a shot there of Brandon Brown. He qualified 2nd. He's behind Vinnie Miller, who is currently quickest. Most recent driver to qualify, there is the 8, Cesar Baccarella. I want to send our thoughts to Cesar as well. He's from down in Parkland, Florida. That's where we had that horrific shooting a couple of days ago. Knew some of those involved. He told me in the garage. Lives about 3 blocks away from where it happened. So saddening to see that happen and the lives lost. So we're certainly sending our thoughts and well wishes to Cesar, his friends and family involved down there, and all those in Parkland, Florida a couple of days ago. Next car up to speed, 51, Jeremy Clements. And you and I love nothing more than getting in the garage and having a chance to visit with Jeremy and his family. What a wonderful operation they have.
It is, and that's a beautiful car, Adam. I was checking it out yesterday. Very detailed. I think he's got something here that certainly he's going to qualify respectably with, but it's going to race well. And he knows how to draft. He can get it done behind the wheel. And Daytona is the great equalizer. If your car doesn't have quite the power under the hood, or maybe not quite as sleek aerodynamically as some of the others, you can get in the draft and make it happen.
To the top, Jeremy Clements, fastest in qualifying, 48.826 seconds. What do you have, Matt?
Well, that's what Brandon Jones is hoping to do in just a few more cars. Now, he and I have something in common. Obviously not the height, or even maybe the width a little bit. Or definitely age, but 15 years ago, next month, I had an honor to fly with the Air Force Thunderbirds. Once in a lifetime experience. Now I have to ask you the most important question. I don't care about the bag. I care about how many G's.
We pulled 9.6 G's, and it was only for 3 seconds because at the time he was like, man, it's really tough to breathe on this, so just be ready for me, and I'm not going to do it very long. So that was the biggest thing, but phenomenal experience, man. It was so cool to see how much this correlated to you know, what they do at the Air Force. They have interior guys, crew chiefs, engineers, and so put that helmet on, man, you've got the comms in your ears. It's almost similar to driving one of these race cars, so it was really cool to see how they all came together to make that happen. Really proud to be a part of what that was, and I wish I could do it every single year, but obviously, yeah, that's pretty hard to come by. So
I always like to say the most fun I've ever had throwing up. So
I just think you need to find Regan Smith down there, Matt, because things didn't go as good for him when he went up with the Thunderbirds. So we'll have to get a report on that later. Hey, saw Ryan Seek come across the start-finish line.
Fastest.
He has now jumped in front of Jeremy Clements, 48.723 for him. And you will watch left of our screen. Top 12 drivers going to advance from round 1 to round 2. We'll continue to follow that as we get later in the session to see who will stay alive for the pole.
I talked to Ryan yesterday, and I said, what's the practice plan? He said, look up in the back of the truck. And I looked at his hauler, and there was not another car in there. He said the practice plan is to be very conservative today and go for it tomorrow. And he's got a race car he can go for it with, fastest so far.
And I've had a lot of folks ask me, why is he in the 93 and not the 39? They've got 3 cars here this weekend. They just wanted to put the best plan together to ensure all those cars get in the field. He'll be back in the 39 next week. Here we go with the 0 of Garrett Smithley. Back with JD Motorsports for a 3rd season. We know these cars have had some speed. You look at his last 3 restrictor plate races in that 0 car, all of them top 15, including an 8th place finish at Daytona 1 year ago. Smithley goes 3rd behind Sieg and Clements. And some breaking news down in the Xfinity Series garage this morning. Regan has got the latest on that.
Hey guys, thanks. We got a little bit of a situation going on with the 3-car here. Right here in front of the 16 of Ryan Reed is where that 3-car should be right now. Unfortunately, the 3-car of Austin Dillon is not out here. We're being told that they're not going to be allowed to qualify today because of a rear suspension violation that was discovered in pre-race tech. The crew chief and car chief have both been ejected from the racetrack. Heck of a way to start the season out for those guys. They will be allowed to race that same primary car later this afternoon, though.
Nick Harrison is the crew chief. Thanks for that report, Regan. And that's one of the guys, if you just looked at the entry list and then you watched practice yesterday, you would say he's got a real good chance to go out, win the pole, win this race today.
Yeah, well, the pole's out of the question.
And we know that's not going to happen.
But he can still win the race. The rear suspension is a key to part of the rules package that NASCAR puts in place for these cars here at Daytona and Talladega. I don't know the details of exactly what they did wrong. Maybe it's an insert in a spring that makes those move more than they should. Who knows exactly? I'm speculating, but it would be something to do with the rear suspension, like they mentioned, and they can square that away, Adam, and still have a chance to win this race.
Kaz Grala making his Xfinity Series debut, running for Rookie of the Year for JGL. He's 5th right now. Round of qualifying for the Xfinity Series here at Daytona International Speedway. Most recent driver to make a run, Alex Labbe, youngster out of Quebec, Canada, doing some good things up there. Reigning champion in the Pinty Series. He is 3rd because the new man at the top, front row Joe Nemechek, running this weekend for JD Motorsports. How fast is that 15 car?
How about, can you say on a roll? Because Joe is on a roll.
Top 5 last night.
3rd place. What a great job by Joe Nemechek. I texted him before the truck race last night. I said, are we going for it, old man? He said, you darn right, Mike. I'm going to be on the gas.
Nemechek, Sieg, Labbe, Clements, Smithley, your top 5. This qualifying run here at Daytona International Speedway. New team for him in 2018. They've got some speed. 2nd right now, 48.594 seconds. This 90 car of Josh Williams, the team car to Alex Labbe, had gone on a 5-minute clock, but they have now jumped on track and will make their qualifying effort. Josh from here in Florida, the team based in Florida. A couple of ARCA wins on his racing resume. So Josh has talent and understands what it takes to be successful.
Has one start here at Daytona, so a little bit of experience at this track. Looking to use the almighty draft.
Give me some drivers, maybe some unsung heroes, guys that could pull an upset today when you look at the qualifying board so far, Michael.
Well, the first person that sticks out to me is Kaz Grala, and you say, well, he's making his first start here in the Xfinity car at Daytona. How do you pick him? Well, he drove to victory lane a year ago at the age of 18 in his pickup truck, running 7th when he took the white flag at him, came around and won the race. So I'm going to watch for him to be a part of the story this afternoon. And I love Brandon Brown. We saw his car earlier in qualifying. He's locked into the race. He's going to be fun to watch as well.
Brandon going to run 10 races this year. They're hoping to go full-time in 2019. What do you have for us, Regan?
Hey guys, we got another little bit of a story down here. Inside Kyle Larson's race car is not Kyle Larson. It looks like this thing's been hijacked.
There's been a driver change.
Yeah, absolutely. Kyle, you ran a lot of laps in yesterday's first draft in practice, 25, as many as anybody. What were you trying to learn about your race car?
Well, it's been a couple years since I ran a plate race in the Xfinity Series, so the rules package has changed quite a bit since I ran, and it's even changed for these guys since last year with the nose, the addition to the nose. So just trying to learn, how you could draft. It seemed a little bit harder to get to people's back bumper, so I don't know if that's going to make it harder to pass or what, but we'll find out when we get in a big pack. But the DC Solar Chevy had good speed, I thought, yesterday, and it handled pretty good, a little bit tight as I went, but I'm confident that my guys got it driving good, and we can hopefully stay out of trouble and have a shot to win.
Good news for this team, guys. If they need a relief driver, they've got one on standby right here.
Is that you or Owen? Who are you politicking for there, Regan?
I was politicking for Owen at the moment. I got a little bit of a different headset on today here.
Owen is awesome. I love seeing him in victory lane when Kyle runs his dirt car. He's holding up a Coca-Cola in victory lane.
He's already got it figured out.
Got one finger in the air. You wonder how families wind up a part of racing, like we've seen from the beginning of NASCAR, and that's exactly it there. You take your son to the races or your daughter, and they grow up around it, they love it, and they want to be a part of it. And it's a great way to spend family time when you're off at the races.
Paying off the most recent drivers to go in qualifying, mentioned Josh Williams. He is 8th of the 23 cars that have been on track. And we also saw Ross Chastain after he was out earlier, had to cool the car down when we had that spin during his qualifying run. He's made his way back on track, locked into the field. He is 5th overall. And now we look at the 25 of Chris Cockrum. And I said yesterday during practice to Larry McReynolds, Mark it down. I'll bet you a bunch of money at some point during this race today we'll be talking about this kid right in the middle of the mix. He always makes his way to the front in these plate races.
Isn't that fun when you think of guys that seem to overachieve when you come to a place like Daytona and Talladega, a car that maybe you're not used to seeing up front, but you know they're going to get there? You're right, Adam. That's one of those guys.
17th for Cochran in his qualifying run. David Starr hits the track, 50 years old, out of Houston, Texas. We'll see what he can do in the 52 as we send it back down to Regan.
Thanks, guys. Austin Cindric here. Austin, we always hear people talk about drivers not being able to do much in qualifying at Daytona. You're a rookie. It's going to be your first Daytona Xfinity race. What can you do, or have you focused on anything to help out even the least little bit on this lap?
Yeah, for me, it's just maximizing the upshifts, being able to get a clean lap, not touch the apron, but be as low as you can, minimize track distance. But I'm excited to see the speed this thing has. Roush has a pretty good history of having some fast speedway cars, so see how fast our Protec Ford F-150. First race in the Xfinity Series. Ford Mustang.
First race for him. He'll get that figured out, Adam, as we go along here. Don't forget, this 60 car is the team car to the 16, who has won 2 of the last 3 races down here. Ryan Reed's been really strong. These guys have got to be communicating with each other.
Old habits die hard, don't they, Regan?
Absolutely.
Second youngest driver in the field will be Austin Cindric. Only to Kaz Grala, who won here in the Truck Series a year ago. A very talented rookie class that we'll have this season.
Cindric drove the heck out of that Ford 150 last year in the Truck Series. A lot of fun.
Made it to the Final Four.
Yeah, he did, and he had a great run in Miami. So look for a lot out of Austin this year.
David Starr, 15th. He has finished. And here's Daniel Hemrick. Now, in final practice, he was quickest, and we know those RCR cars have speed, but Michael, he had a bit of an issue in the draft in our first practice session yesterday, so his practice time in that final tune-up was in the draft. That really doesn't equate to what we see when you're making a single car run. He could, though, kind of set the baseline, show us where we're going as far as this pole speed.
Well, you see there, he's tracking first so far. A lot of speed in that 21 car. And Adam, I was down there when they were effecting repairs to that Chevrolet, and the team had their arms around it. There was just minimal damage to the front. The right rear fender, they had already taken it off and were replacing it. So this car is definitely as good as it was when they rolled it off the trailer when they got to Florida.
I said we got a talented rookie class in 2018. How about the group a year ago? Hemrick went to the championship 4. William Byron won the title. Cole Custer dominated the season finale, getting the victory lane at Miami. Spencer Gallagher did some positive things.
What a great story Miami was,
yeah,
to shine a light on the young drivers. And I'm telling you, Adam, Hemrick had maybe the best car down there. Had some issues with his alternator during the course of the race, but he was really fast. And I think that's sort of a foreshadowing what we're going to see this year. I'm looking for a lot out of that South Point Chevy.
Hey, I didn't even mention Matt Tifft, who made the playoffs as a rookie for Joe Gibbs Racing. He will now be Hemrick's teammate driving the 2 car at RCR. Hemrick, you saw on the tracker, does go to the top. The numbers for him, 47-67. And looking yesterday and kind of deciphering through the single car runs and anticipating these guys didn't get much help in the draft. About the best we saw, 47-30 range. So I would guess somewhere in that neighborhood, maybe south of that, is where you'll need to go to get the pole as we look at Elliott Sadler.
And I talked earlier about the attitude of the car and the nose. You can see that one car of Sadler. Look how well that nose is sealed to the road. That is perfect. That's exactly what you want, maximizing all the speed in that one car.
Hemrick stays at the top, 48.044 for Elliott Sadler.
I just tell you, Adam, I've been around this sport my whole life. When I see a car coming down the straightaway with the nose on the ground like that, it just makes me happy. It makes me want to go out there and get in that car. You know that thing's aerodynamically glued to the road. You can make some aggressive moves when you're drafting and racing. That's racy.
Hey, if you want to call Vegas, put a bet on today's race, you might want to go with Junior Motorsports. They won 4 of the last 8 races here at Daytona, including last summer when William Byron got it done. 2 summers ago, it was nearly this guy, Justin Allgaier, lost a heartbreaker to Eric Almirola in overtime. And last year, Elliott Sadler won Stage 1 and Stage 2, was leading when he was wrecked late in this race, and then he went on to be a runner-up at Talladega and also in the summer race at Daytona. So when you look at all those numbers, they equal success for Junior Motorsports later today, you got to believe.
Yeah, and if you're going to bet on a car in Vegas. This one of the Junior Motorsports cars is as good as any. And plus, Adam, it's got corn on it. I mean, you got a car with corn on it. That's pretty cool.
It's got to go fast.
It has to.
Here's Allgaier back to the line, and he goes second, 47.93. Matt, what do you have?
Well, catching up with Chase Elliott, he's driving the 88 car this weekend here on the Xfinity side. So on the Cup side during qualifying, the main focus is to try to not drag the side skirt with the no ride height. Anything that you focus on more getting up to speed here in the Xfinity car for qualifying?
I think a lot of very similar things. We practiced some yesterday. We actually never made a single car run, so we're kind of curious how we're going to stack up. So just a big thanks to JRM and Hellman's and all the folks for allowing me to come drive their car. Looking forward to the afternoon, and it's been a while since I've run one of these races, so hopefully can learn fast and see where we end up.
Thanks.
He needs to start 19th today.
Worked
right?
once, didn't it?
That's what we said off the top. He's going to be fast today, going to be fast tomorrow as well. Won his qualifying race here on Thursday night. Watched it on FS1. Got a feeling when he finally gets that first win in the Monster Energy Series, the floodgates are going to open. Going to be bad news for the competition. Daniel Hemrick leading the way in qualifying. 28 of 46 cars have made a run. And here is Brandon Jones on the pole a year ago. First of those Joe Gibbs Toyotas to go out today. He is fifth.
And that just shows you what a solid run Joe Nemechek had in that 15 car. And also Joey Gase, that's a potent Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota, and those guys have sandwiched Brandon Jones. That's why this afternoon's going to be so much fun. Watching the underdogs, guys we don't talk about a lot, getting up there and competing for the win.
Now, I said 29 cars have made a run. There are two others that are not going to qualify. Mike Harmon in the 74, Austin Dillon in the 3, because they're respective issues. So that means we've got 15 cars left here in this opening round. Hemrick, Allgaier, Sadler. You mentioned Nemechek. Brandon Jones is fifth. And here is his rookie teammate, Christopher Bell. How big are the expectations for driver 20 this season?
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb, Adam, and say this is your championship favorite. This kid can get it done behind the wheel.
Over Sadler, Allgaier, the guys that have been there before.
I've watched him since he's been in the Truck Series, and he's a lot like William Byron. Everything you want out of him, everything you expect out of him, just when you think he might be up against a challenge too big, he comes through. And I think this year it's going to be really special for Christopher Bell.
Won last fall at Kansas, qualifying at Daytona in the 4th position. Regan?
Daniel, you're running the Xfinity race this year. We're not sure if you ran it last year or not. You can't remember right now. But what can you learn with this race car that could maybe help you on Sunday? Is it more just repetition than anything?
You know, I was joking with these guys yesterday that this car drives so well in comparison to my Cup car right now. But you know, it's just different. I don't really know. With all these rule changes and the nose changes on these cars, I don't really know if there is anything I can learn from this race to apply for tomorrow's Daytona 500. But it should be something there, right? I think overall, just to have fun with the 18 Intercept batteries there at Camry. Hopefully we can put it in victory lane, and you know, these guys, they've been working extremely hard since last year, so I own a couple victories, couple trophies for these guys.
Suarez was P2 in yesterday's first practice when everybody was drafting guys. He had a fast race car, and he's come a long ways. I remember his first race at Daytona in the Xfinity Series. I ended up on my roof off of his front bumpers, so he's learned a lot over the years here.
I think a lot of us have ended up on our roof here at Daytona, Regan. I know I have, and it's no fun. What a great run for Ryan Truex, up to 3rd fastest in that 11 car.
He showed a lot of speed in practice yesterday. Said it's the best speedway car he's ever been in. He's excited.
Isn't that awesome? I will say to Daniel Suarez, I think if you run this race, even though the rules are quite different and the cars drive a lot different, you're going to pick up things today that will help you tomorrow. Plus, your skills are going to be sharpened. You're honed. You're ready to go to battle tomorrow in the Monster Energy Cup Series after racing here today. I love my driver competing on Saturday. He's going to have all the rust bumped off and ready to go.
What did I ask you off the top? You remember the question when we began this broadcast about an hour ago? I said, doesn't matter where you start, right?
Right.
Yeah?
That was I still stand by that.
Okay, well, here's the deal. For Joey Logano, this qualifying run, just another part of his day, because the fun really begins for him around 2:30. I don't care where this car starts. He is going to be one of the favorites, no question.
But like I said earlier, qualifying does matter, because you put a guy like Joey Logano behind the wheel and you say, all right, he's second fastest so far in this session. People notice. It makes his job easier. The other competitors like, Joey's good, we're going to get behind Joey and push him. I always used to think that's why Dale Earnhardt was so wildly successful at the plate racing, because he was so good and he knew how to position his car, and everybody wanted to see how he did it, and they got right behind him and pushed him. It made his job very, very interesting to have all that pressure from the other competitors wanting to know what Dale was doing and how he did it.
Can you text Wayne Aughton, the series director, when it comes to Xfinity competition, and tell him, just put the 22 in the back. It'll really make our day entertaining up here in the TV booth. You said it, Joey Logano is second behind Daniel Hemrick. And here is Ryan Reed. Overcame so many obstacles in this race 1 year ago and found victory lane at Daytona for the second time in his career.
And he drove a perfect last 4 or 5 laps. He didn't back his way into winning a plate race at Daytona. He battled. He changed lanes. He was spot on all the way to the checkered flag. That win, to me, was way more important than the first time he won. There was an accident. He just slipped through and won the first time in 15. Last year, that was a driving exhibition.
He did put on a great show late in that race, earned it without question. 7th right now is Ryan Reed. Your top 5, Daniel Hemrick, Joey Logano, Justin Allgaier, Ryan Truex, and Elliott Sadler. Here, the 42 of Kyle Larson. And as we see that 42 out there, I want to send thoughts over to Rob Kaufman, one of the partners at Chip Ganassi Racing. Lost his father yesterday. A sad time for many in the NASCAR community, and it brings to the understanding that we are all one big family. So, Rob, we're thinking about you, and sorry for the loss of your father.
Yeah, Rob's mom and dad, just huge fans of NASCAR. They would tune in from New York and watch the races every weekend, and that's how Rob grew up loving cars. And certainly a sad time for the family. I know Rob's coming to Daytona. Race cars somehow put a smile back on your face a bit, and I hope Rob's able to experience that when he gets here.
His driver just went 3rd. Larson behind Hemrick and Logano. And we're starting to put some times up now and get a feel for who's going to have an opportunity to advance. We're going to have 10 cars to go, beginning with Eric Almirola in this opening round of qualifying. Where do you feel like the guys are good to make the top 12 and have a chance then to go for the pole, Mike?
You know what's interesting, Adam, is there's almost a second difference between 1st and 12th. So there's a lot of room for cars to start really squeezing in there. So if I'm not in the first, I think the 47-second bracket, we got 5 cars that are down in the 47s. I think you're going to have to do that in order to advance.
Last of those is Ryan Truex. Here's a look at Eric Almirola. The 98, been coming to plate races for a number of years under the name key of Biaggi Dinbesti Racing, but they have had a merger in the offseason, now partnered with Stewart Haas. So it's Stewart Haas Racing with Biaggi Dinbesti. You got Cole Custer in the 00. And this weekend, Eric Almirola in the 98. Kevin Harvick going to drive this car next weekend at Atlanta. Almirola won last spring at Talladega. He goes 7th here.
And he just said to himself, I hope Mike's not right, because he's not in the 47s, just outside of the 48, 40, 24, about a quarter of a second off 47.99 that I think they might need to run.
On the bubble now is Joey Gase. Just in front of him, Brandon Jones and Joe Nemechek. As we take a look at Almirola's teammate, here's Cole Custer in the 00. I can't look at him and just not think about, you talk about a driving exhibition for Ryan Reed in this race 1 year ago. I don't know what you would call it, what he did to the competition in that season finale in South Florida in November.
Well, it was the same thing that Chase Briscoe did to the competition in that truck on Friday night. Just amazing how these young racers can get in these cars and hone their skills so quickly. Adam, he must have run 200 miles less than 6 inches off that outside wall. Just perfect driving. Drove away by 20 seconds to win that race. I mean, just an amazing job by this young man.
Well, here's the sad part about that. He missed going to Miami and being eligible for the championship by 4 points. Such a tight battle late at Phoenix to advance and be eligible in the championship for. He could have very well walked away with the title, and instead it was fellow rookie William Byron who got it done.
But when you watch guys like Daniel Hemrick, who's our fastest car so far, get better and better, Cole Custer with that driving exhibition that he put on down there in Miami, along with Chase Briscoe, those Cup owners, they pay close attention to what these kids are doing in the trucks in the Xfinity, and that will fast track you to the Cup Series. Look at William Byron, a great example of that.
Saw it on the board. Cole Custer goes 9th. That means Brandon Jones on the 19 is on the bubble when it comes to who will advance from round 1 to round 2. And here is a look at Matt Tifft. Said it earlier, making the move from Joe Gibbs to Richard Childress Racing in 2018, piloting the 2 car.
I look for a lot out of this Richard Childress organization this year. I think the car that they had at Miami for Hemrick was new, and it was really fast. I think they get back to victory lane and battle for the championship.
This team did win a race last year, RCR. First time they had failed to win a race in the Xfinity Series in a year when they had competed full time. They've gone from 5 cars to 3. I think the optimism very high, and it's obvious they have speed here at Daytona. Daniel Hemrick is P1. Matt Tifft goes to 2nd behind him. And here's Austin Cindric driving that Ford Mustang, not the F-150. Either way, high hopes for this driver, who will run for Rookie of the Year despite the fact he'll be behind the wheel of 3 different race cars. Going to run a handful of races in that 60, sharing time with Chase Briscoe and Ty Majeski. Also going to run the 12 and the 22 for Team Penske.
Not a lot of experience when he came truck racing last year. And another example of a guy that you could see just building the confidence and getting laps and understanding more and more about what it took to go fast.
He drove for who last year in the Truck Series?
BKR.
Yeah, and Brad Keselowski going to be in the booth with you and I later today when we call the action from here at Daytona.
Love Brad's passion. We were in a meeting at 8 o'clock this morning about the race this afternoon. He was the first one in the room. Brings a lot of information and knowledge that you just simply can't have if you're not down there doing battle in a car. And that's why I love our Fox broadcast team, inviting these Cup guys up and just sharing what they know. It makes us better, Adam, not only today, but as we race forward to Atlanta and so forth. We'll learn more because of these guys being here.
Cindric jumps up to 8th. On the bubble now, last year's winner Ryan Reed, as we look at the 28 of Dylan Lupton. What did he tell you about his car yesterday in practice?
Well, I walked up. I said, "How's it going, Dylan?" And he had a bit of a concerned look on his face, I would say. And he says, "It's loose. My car's loose." And I said, "Oh, well, tighten it up." And then I looked. I said, "What happened?" He said, "I spun out." Well, yeah, you're loose. Make sure you tell your crew chief that you're really loose if you've already spun out. And the team went to work on it. He got some more confidence. We'll see how he's able to perform this afternoon in the Powershares QQQ. I've just been dying to say that.
You snuck that right in there. That was impressive.
I've been envious. You've been saying it so eloquently, and I'm over here thinking, man, I'd like to do that.
You just jump in any time, all right? Lupton, the first of 6 cars remaining in this first round of qualifying. Not going to be the effort he was hoping for, but he should be okay. Top 33 cars make it in on speed. Top 12 go on to round number 2 to run for the pole. Lupton officially going to be 16th of those 39 cars that have been on track so far. And a look at Michael Annett out of Des Moines, Iowa. He's 31 years old, 2nd year with Junior Motorsports. And I know that things didn't go great for him in his first year at JRM, but let's look at positives. He did make the playoffs, and they really picked up steam late in the season, in particular when we got into postseason play and we were looking at a championship.
You know, a lot of times a driver just needs the communication to develop. When you say I'm loose, like Dylan Lupton was, the crew chief needs to know how loose. And when you say, I just don't feel the left front, how do I fix that for my driver? Every driver articulates their issues differently and with a different tone. And as you work with your crew chief and you work with your team, they begin to understand you better. All I want to see, Adam, as you race through the year is just get better. Get better every week, because that's the key to success, is improvement.
I think there's a real chance that all of the Junior Motorsports cars are going to advance here. Annett jumps up to 5th. Allgaier is 6th. Sadler is 8th with 4 cars remaining in this first round of qualifying. Chase Elliott next up. 5 cars here this weekend for Dale Jr.'s operation. We said it earlier, talked to him. He won this race 2 years ago.
And Thursday night to Dawsonville Pool Hall, they rang the siren.
The siren was going off. They'd love to ring it tomorrow, wouldn't they?
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Can you believe this countdown begins as soon as we leave Miami? Larry McReynolds always does a great job of keeping everyone apprised of how many days until the Daytona 500. And now here we are on the doorstep of the greatest day in stock car racing. Tomorrow is in fact Daytona Day. Coverage of the 60th running of the Great American Race live on Fox. Tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. The stars will be out.
I just love Daytona Day. I'm glad we're celebrating Daytona Day too. We celebrate Groundhog Day and they're slow.
You've been watching that promo, haven't you?
All I do is watch Fox and watch racing. It's kind of my thing, Adam.
Chase Elliott, 10th. Now we got 3 cars remaining.
Almirola's hanging on with that 48-24. He's in 11th. Spencer Gallagher with a good day yesterday in practice.
New crew chief Chad Norris over there helping out GMS.
Great night last night for GMS, wasn't it? 1-2 finish. Justin Haley did a great job. That last lap was everything I want in a NASCAR race. I mean, the battling, Scott Lagasse Jr. trying to put himself in a position to overtake Johnny Sauter, and Johnny just driving a perfect race and going straight to victory lane.
We were talking about the success of Junior Motorsports in qualifying. I said I think all their cars are going to have a chance to advance in the second round. Hendrick engines in this Camaro for GMS and Spencer Gallagher as well, and you see it translating to speed, tracking up in the 6th position right now.
You want to interview a guy that's having fun driving a car? Spencer Gallagher is your man. He's always got a smile on his face. I love what Maury Gallagher and that group has built. Mike Beam running the show, and the folks that work on the cars and trucks. It's just an impressive group of people, and so thankful that they're running in the trucks and here in the Xfinity.
2 cars left on the bubble right now to advance from round 1 to round 2. Eric Almirola. Just in front of him, Chase Elliott, Austin Cindric. So Cindric and the rest of the top 10, they are definitely locked into that second round. They'll have a chance to run for the pole. Give you a little baseline on what we would think about Daniel Suarez. Fastest teammate is Christopher Bell in 13th. Brandon Jones is 17th. So Suarez trying to become the only driver from Joe Gibbs Racing to move on to that second round.
Adam, didn't we kind of see that at the beginning of 2017 where the Gibbs cars just didn't really come out and qualify that well, and maybe just built on their speed throughout the early spring and summer months and got better and better, but right off the bat, it looked like they were a little bit off, especially in qualifying trim.
2 years ago, it wasn't can they win the pole, it was which one of their drivers is going to win and then who's going to start second and third, because it was like they swept every week in qualifying. Suarez, 17th. That locks in Chase Elliott, and the final car to go in this opening round of qualifying is his young teammate, Tyler Reddick. Now, despite the fact that he started 18 races a year ago running the 42, sharing time with Kyle Larson at Chip Ganassi, he's still eligible for Rookie of the Year because he didn't declare last season. So he's a rookie running the 9 for Dale Jr. and trying to live up to some high expectations. The last 2 rookies to drive this 9 car, Chase Elliott won the championship and multiple races, just like William Byron did 1 year ago.
Yeah, he's got the talent too, Adam. It's been impressive to watch Reddick just better and better. Improvement come from the open wheel world, and he has BurgerFi on his car.
That's got to make you go fast.
Yeah, the crew is so happy.
But you know what? How many times did you and I see it? Kyle Larson's driving the car, but Tyler Reddick's at the track. Yes. I remember you and I were in California, and during practice, between the sessions, we ran into Tyler on the spotter stand just trying to get better. He's a true student of the game, and he comes out of the gate strong here at Daytona. He's going to move on to the second round of qualifying. All 5 junior motorsports drivers will be there, but at the top, it's all about RCR. Hemrick and Tiff, the top 2 here at the World Center of Racing. Alex Bowman on the pole tomorrow. Denny Hamlin joins him on the front row. Round 1 qualifying complete for the NASCAR Xfinity Series here today at Daytona. Daniel Hemrick, Matt Tifft, the fastest 2 so far. Ryan Reed, last year's winner, going to roll 16th, Regan.
You always want to start up front no matter where you are. Fortunately, Ryan, Daytona is one place, and we know that you know how to come from the back to the front here. One place you can do that at. What's your biggest concern later this afternoon about where you're starting?
Yeah, you know, I mean, like you said, I think our starting spot, I think for me, I wanted to get a pole for the guys, and, you know, it's the first race of the year, and they work really hard, but we also made sure we set up for the long run and made sure this thing's handling good for the race. But I think the stages is where I'm the most concerned, you know, like, since I'm not going to be starting up front, if I need to bail out around the end of the stages, because it gets so crazy when you're racing for stage points. So just conserve our car around then, but I hope everyone tunes in, uses their Xfinity internet to stream this race or watches at home, watches our drivedowna1c.com Ford Mustang, because I think we honestly have another shot for our 3rd Daytona win, and I'm just so excited to get the season going and having a lot of fun.
He's going to roll off 16th this afternoon in the Powershares QQQ 300. See what I did there, Michael?
Everybody's doing it now. All right, I'm taking my headset off, and I'll see you guys for race coverage today at 2:30. You got this.
It's just fun to...
Opening round of qualifying is complete here at Daytona International Speedway. Just about time to find out who will be on the pole later today for the Powershares QQQ 300. Let's get a word from Matt Yoakum.
Adam, many times in this sport, when a driver gets a lengthy racing resume, you can start to see that maybe they're starting to get into the final years of their career. But I've got to tell you, Elliott Sadler, it seems like since you've joined JRM, you're taking years off. You look much younger every year.
I appreciate that. It's look, man, it's been a dream come true. I couldn't ask for the last 2 years of my life to be any better in racing, and I've been doing this for a while. And I got to say, having Dale and Kelly as owners, and Kevin and these guys and everybody in the shop that works so hard, and One Main Financial supporting us the way they do, the last 2 years have been a blast. And you know, we come to Daytona very optimistic of our chances to run here well again. I think we finished 2nd the last 2 restricted plate races we were in, and just living a dream. I mean, it's fun. I've been doing this for 20 years, but the last 2 years of my life have seemed like the most fun, the best, and definitely the best results I've ever had. So I think a lot of that translates with the team we have. So looking forward to another great season, and can't think of a better place to kick it off right here in Daytona.
Now, you know, guys, I know that Adam really is only 23 years old, but he looks 50, having to work with Michael and Larry each Saturday.
I was going to say the reason Elliott looks young is because he's standing next to Matt, you know? Here are the drivers that failed to advance. This will be your starting lineup later today from 13th on back. Fastest Joe Gibbs Toyota, Christopher Bell in 14th. Last time they failed to advance from round 1, this race 1 year ago when Matt Tifft qualified 14th. You saw there the cars that will go home rounding in this final round of qualifying from Daytona International Speedway. It's the NASCAR Xfinity Series on track. Qualifying now, racing later today. Coverage begins. Shannon, Larry, and Michael get you ready. 2 p.m. Eastern time here on FS1. Then Brad Keselowski in the booth with Michael and me shortly after 2:30. When Elliott won this race 2 years ago, he started 19th. The worst he can do today is 12th, Michael.
Building confidence, Adam. We talked in the opening about is qualifying important. I just believe with every passing year, it becomes more and more important because you've got all the tools you need underneath you to go do the job. And no one's better at plate racing than Chase Elliott. You couple that with a fast car, it usually means good things.
Well, let's face it. When it comes to this place, when you qualify well, you take a lot of other equations out of play. You just make your life easier if you're in front of the 8 ball instead of behind it.
You know who usually says it doesn't matter where you start? It's the people that aren't starting very good.
That's right. You just giving yourself a little bit of a mental pick-me-up, a little pep talk there?
That's right. And you can overcome it. You can fight from the back.
You know, what's funny is, as you talk about how good Chase is as a plate racer, we've seen it at the Cup level, seen it here this weekend and last weekend in the Clash. When he started his Xfinity career, that was the one problem he could not solve. Every time we went somewhere, he was in a crash, got a DNF. But as he's gotten a little more mature, gained some experience, he really has learned how to get it done.
48.117. Adam, that's about a 10th better than he ran in round one, and I'm looking for that to be the trend. These cars have heated up the drive line. They've got a little bit of heat in the tires, took the new off the tires. The motor oil is warmer, and then they cool the engine down with water. So these cars will definitely pick up the pace during the course of the second round. We saw the trucks yesterday, about a 10th and a half, some of them picked up from round one to round two. I don't look for this to be much different.
10 Chevrolets make up the 12 cars that advanced into the final round of qualifying. One of the 2 Fords competing for the pole, rookie Austin Cindric out of Mooresville, North Carolina, 19 years old. See bottom left of your screen, won Truck Series win last year as a rookie, came on the road course in Canada. And I believe this kid's got a chance to not only make the playoffs in Xfinity as a rookie, but remember, opening round, we're going to the road course in Charlotte. Could be a real benefit for him because of his background as a road racer. He's got a chance as a rookie to make a nice little run.
And all the resources. It's a great car. That 60 number is synonymous with winning in the Xfinity Series. Mark Martin, Carl Edwards.
Greg Biffle, not 94 career wins for the 60 car. Chris Buescher a few years ago winning races, winning the championship.
My favorite memories of Mark Martin is we would be at Rockingham a week after Daytona. And no matter how he did at Daytona, at about 8 in the morning, he would roll that number 60 Winn-Dixie car out on the racetrack and run about a 22 flat when the sun wasn't even up yet, and it would just freak everybody out, you know, because he was so fast and so good everywhere he went. So much speed, and just great memories of Mark Martin behind the wheel.
Cindric is second, 48.188, not too far off of what he ran in that first round of qualifying.
Yeah, he didn't pick up any.
Here's Tyler Reddick, another rookie. Tyler has a win at Daytona. Came here a few years ago, driving for Brad Keselowski in the Camping World Truck Series. Also has truck wins at Daytona, at Dover rather, and Las Vegas, and won in the Xfinity Series driving for Chip Ganassi last fall at Kentucky. See the tracker bottom left in the red right now. Trying to jump above his teammate, Chase Elliott.
Good looking ride. A lot of confidence, I know, for that team too, you know, with success and with the job that Tyler's done behind the wheel.
Well, his crew chief, Dave Ellens, he's been so successful since coming over from Hendrick Motorsports, where he was an engineer, to be a crew chief at JRM, and he's won twice here. A couple of years ago, he was calling the shots for Chase Elliott. Last summer for William Byron, who won in June. Reddick second, 48.14. 5 1,000ths quicker than what he put up in that first round. Here's a kid I want to watch, Ryan Truex, and I said it earlier. He came to us after practice yesterday, said this is the best restrictor plate vehicle I've ever been in, and we shouldn't forget this team did win a pole at Talladega last spring with Blake Cook behind the wheel.
And a couple things, if you're watching the duel on Thursday with the Monster Energy cars, or even the truck race last night, you saw a lot of jukey vehicles. I mean, they were really bouncing around, spinning out. These cars so far, Adam, appear to be driving better. And when they drive better, that means you can be more aggressive. And when you're a young kid behind the wheel with a chance to win at Daytona, that'll mean a lot of action. Confidence, because you're driving well, sometimes can get you in trouble by putting your car in places it doesn't belong.
Would you look at the tracker? Look at the tracker, Michael. He is blowing away the competition with this lap. He's closing on 0.3 faster than the time put up by Chase Elliott. Not even close to the top. Ryan Truex is fastest. And we understand an issue for Elliott Sadler, who was so good here a year ago. What's up with the one car, Matt?
He hasn't rolled off, and he won't roll off here in qualifying. An issue with the quick connect. It broke. They're not exactly sure how much water they put back into the car, so they don't want to take a chance on hurting the engine on their qualifying run.
Yeah, that was a great effort by Ryan Truex.
That's awesome. And you know, he talked yesterday confident about his car. Couple that with the speed that he put on the board there. Kid's ready to roll.
They are number 11. You know why Colleague Racing chose number 11, Michael? I've asked you this before, but I'll see if you remember.
Because of Darrell Waltrip's success driving for Junior Johnson?
That was not it. That's a good guess. Not it. Their owner, Matt Colleague, played college football at Akron. Quarterback number 11. So they went with number 11.
Well, Darrell tells me that everything kind of revolves around him.
Let's just let him believe that, okay? And they might have to come up with Matt's high school number for a second car, because they are going to run a second car at some point this year. They've expanded their shop, of course, a satellite team with Richard Childress Racing. To the top, Justin Allgaier, 47.84.
I talked about a 10th.5 pickup. That's about what Ryan Truex did. Allgaier picked up a 10th of a second over that first round.
And he's faster than Truex by 3/1000ths of a second.
So that's when people say the driver doesn't really matter in qualifying. You go out there and you nail your gear shifts, put that engine right at the perfect RPM, and then run right adjacent to that yellow line all the way around this racetrack without bottoming out that left front corner, and you set on the pole by 3/1000ths of a second. If it works out like that, the driver does matter. You got to get everything you can out of that car from behind the wheel, because that's exactly what your team has done in preparing for this qualifying session. So you want to make sure you're perfect so that you give your team the best chance to set on the pole.
We heard Matt say that Elliott Sadler will not make a qualifying run, so 6 cars to go. And Michael Annett, the first of those, Elliott's teammate, tracking third right now, right on the line with Chase Elliott, who opened up this second round of qualifying. Doesn't look like he's going to be as fast as Allgaier. Annett is third. 5 cars to go. Allgaier, Truex, Annett, Elliott, and Reddick, the top 5. Here is Spencer Gallagher. Great effort for him in that first round of qualifying.
Team based in Statesville, North Carolina. They build their own chassis, bodies, pretty much a turnkey operation.
You look at where they were when they came into the Camping World Truck Series, and that was the only place they were competing, and how they have grown that truck operation, being competitive, winning races, winning championships, going to the Championship 4 down in Homestead Miami Speedway on an annual basis. And now what they're doing here, this is their 3rd year in Xfinity, 2nd year full time. They really have done some positive things, and another great contributor to the lower levels of NASCAR, and this is what you need if you're going to continue to grow.
And just a great young driver lineup, along with the veteran Johnny Sauter in the truck series. They're always putting fresh talent in winning race trucks, giving them a chance.
He won right now. Nice work.
Can they win the pole, Michael?
Oh, look at that.
He won.
Almost a 10th of a second.
Looks unbelievable for the coming week, and I'll knock on wood as I say that, but make sure and come out doubleheader on Saturday with the trucks in Xfinity, 500 miles for the Monster Energy Cup Series on Sunday. It's going to be a fun weekend. Weather looks great, so come out and be a part of it.
It is one of my favorite racetracks and one of the best racing weekends of the year. It's the only doubleheader for the trucks and the Xfinity at the same track of the whole year. You get to watch both those great series compete on a track that the drivers just love, because there's no grip. They go out there and slip and slide. You know what drivers are? They're a little full of themselves. They think if there's no grip, we're going to slip and slide, I can do a better job than you. Their talent will be on full display when we get to Atlanta.
While we're selling Atlanta and giving the weather forecast for Georgia next week, Kyle Larson jumped up to the top, 47.62. That's 0.2 quicker than what we saw out of Spencer Gallagher. And here's Joey Logano, 3 drivers to go. He's tracking in the red. So right now Larson looks safe as Logano comes through 3 and 4.
Just a perfect line. Look at that left front corner. Never bobbles a bit off that yellow line.
Logano is second. Hey, 19 of the last 24 races here won by a Monster Energy Series regular. So that means 5 in the last 12 years have been won by an Xfinity exclusive guy. But last year they got the sweep with Reed winning in February and the summertime race going to William Byron. How does that balance out today as we see one of the young guys here, Matt Tifft?
Well, you look at the front row so far. Those guys, Larson and Logano, have the experience, the knowledge. They've been drafting for the last week. They're going to be hard to beat. I also look for Chase Elliott, who just did an amazing job in his duel. I'm going to favor the Cup guys, but what I love about that is what Ryan Reed did a year ago. He took it to him. So that's what makes this race so fun.
8 of the top 12 starters are going to be drivers running for the Xfinity Series title in 2018. So they have qualified well, and we'll see if Richard Childress Racing can back up in round 2 what they did in round 1. Tifft and Hemrick were the top 2, and Tifft is second again behind Kyle Larson.
Just a couple of hundredths of a second. So that just tells you how important doing the perfect job behind the wheel is. That could have been the difference.
16 1/1000ths the difference between Matt Tifft in second and right now the guy that leads the way, Kyle Larson. And our final cars rolled onto the track. Elliott Sadler, as we said earlier, not going to take a time, so he will start 12th today. And Daniel Hemrick trying to win the pole.
As we watch Hemrick, another one of my favorite things to do, Adam, is look down the starting lineup. Pick a couple of guys who we usually don't see racing up toward the front, who can climb up there, make their way to the front, and be a part of our story this afternoon. Ryan Sieg has certainly shown the speed and the ability to do that. Jeremy Clements. I mean, there's so many great stories. Kaz Grala is going to be all the way back in the 29th position. He's not intimidated at all by that. He was running 7th when he took the white flag a year ago in the truck race, and he won.
Last 8 races here, we've had 8 different pole winners. Can we make it 9? Hemrick tracking in the green, fastest in round 1, and he's going to back it up. Daniel Hemrick to the top. He will lead him to the green later today.
Yeah, we got it, boys.
In the Powershares QQQ 300.
That's all you boys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Qualifying made those guys happy. It mattered to them, didn't it?
Second time in his career, he's going to start from the pole. And for the second consecutive season, it will be a driver from Richard Childress Racing. Brandon Jones got it done last year. We hear from Hemrick next. Formation, and so is the lineup for the NASCAR Xfinity Series, opening up 2018 later today. Our qualifying session presented by Geico has wrapped up. It will be Daniel Hemrick on the pole, second of his career. Last time he led him to the green last spring at Richmond Raceway.
That was beautiful, Adam.
That was nice, wasn't it? So there you go. Hemrick on the pole, starting alongside Kyle Larson. Chevys were strong.
Oh, they were. A couple of Fords up there in the top 12, but domination by Chevy in qualifying. It'd be interesting to see how those Toyotas race when they throw the green flag this afternoon. Suarez had a lot of speed in his Monster Energy Cup car yesterday.
Let's hear from the fastest man in Central Florida this morning. Regan?
Hey, the guy that's going to have the best view from the start of this race, Daniel Hemrick, your second career pole. It was not a foregone conclusion, though. These guys had to work hard on this car overnight to get it repaired.
Yeah, hard is an understatement, man. Everybody on the South Point Hotel Casino Chevrolet has done an incredible job overcoming everything we went through at the end of last year, preparing for the offseason, going through the offseason, and our practice damage bay yesterday. That's why you do it. Moments like these, so really proud of these guys. Hopefully we can keep it going. It was honestly kind of like Logano qualifying as good as they did, or those guys talking about the Daytona 500 qualifying, just unexpected. You know, we just didn't expect to have the speed, but it does. Just like Xfinity Internet Service, we're going to keep it going, and it's a good starting spot, ain't it?
Dan just told me yesterday he's got more confidence coming into this season than ever in his career. It's the first time he's worked with the same team 2 years in a row.
That was smooth with the Xfinity reference, wasn't it? I mean, he could probably knock the heck out of the Powershares Powershares.
Powershares QQQ 300.
You're the professional. I'm sorry.
We're back with that at 2. Cup final practice in an hour. Right now it's NASCAR Race Hub. Let's go to Charlotte, North Carolina. Good afternoon, John Roberts.
Good afternoon to you too, Adam. Hello, everyone, and welcome to NASCAR Race Hub presented by Geico. The starting lineup is set for the Xfinity Series race at Daytona. We'll have more news and coverage on that series in a moment, but the Cup cars are preparing for the final practice session before the running of the Great American Race. We'll recap Speed Week so far and get you ready for final practice. Race Hub starts right now. And welcome into our Race Hub studio here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm John Roberts. He is Jeff Hammond, and he is driver Casey Mears joining us here for the first time this season. Good to see you on Race Hub. But, Casey, everything's the build-up throughout the season. You're talking about Daytona, practice, qualifying. Now it's time to race.
Yeah, I mean, you have a long or short offseason, however you look at it, what side of the coin you're on. But, all the hard work and everything that's been done in the offseason, you finally have got the cars qualified, and now they're getting ready to go racing.
Yeah, the thing about it right now, the countdown clock that Larry McReynolds keeps talking about is ticking closer and closer to the start of the 500. But this final practice session, whether to go out, what do you need to do? Have you got it done? And you think about the fact that they had no practice really coming into the duel. Then they ran 150 miles. Now everybody's trying to be a little bit careful because they realize you can lose a car real quick out there if you're not careful.
Risk versus reward, to practice or not to practice? That is the question. So the grid is set for the Xfinity Series tomorrow. Let's take a look at how the stage breakdown goes. The first 2 stages will be comprised of 30 laps each, and the final stage will be made up of 60 laps for a total of 120. The Xfinity race is coming up later. You'll see that on FS1, starting with pre-race coverage at 2 p.m. Coming up immediately following Race Hub is final practice for the Cup cars before the 500, then back here for another hour of Race Hub. Alan Cavana joins us now. He's been in the middle of it all in Daytona. Alan, what can we expect to see when these cars hit the track for real?
Well, certainly there'll be some good action out there. But coming out of qualifying, maybe the most significant news was who we didn't see qualify. Austin Dillon did not make a qualifying lap with his Xfinity car. That car had a lot of trouble getting through inspection, and it led to the ejection of his crew chief, Nick Harrison. NASCAR is officially calling it a rear suspension violation. Both Harrison and his car chief ejected from today's race. Austin Dillon will race, but they did not make a qualifying lap. Will start at the rear, so it'll be tough going, especially at the beginning of this race, John.
Yeah, Alan, Ryan Truex has stepped up to the Xfinity this year after being in the Truck Series. How do you see him adjusting to the new car?
Well, it's going to be an adjustment for Truex and his new team, Colleague Racing, especially with his crew chief. Communication, Casey, is so important here, especially between a crew chief and a driver, and especially here at a restrictor plate track. I talked to his crew chief this morning, Chris Rice. He told me he actually went back and listened to some of Ryan's radios, his races last year in the Truck Series, to get an idea of what Ryan wants during a race, how he talks, his demeanor. He's going to use that today during the Daytona run because he wants to have that communication going. Better communication here, especially at a plate track, will help them translate what he wants to hear from the driver and give the driver what he wants and hopefully a shot at that win.
Hey, Alan, our 2017 Camping World Truck Series champion, Christopher Bell, made the step up to Xfinity this year. He's going to be driving Joe Gibbs' number 20. So far, how are things going for Christopher?
Well, they're going pretty good. I talked to him just before qualifying. Yeah, he's the Truck Series champion. He's won so much at a young age, but he admitted to me he still has a lot to learn when it comes to being in a pack here in an Xfinity car. It was a little nervous because they didn't go out in final practice yesterday. Remember, he is paired with veteran Cup crew chief Jason Ratcliffe. They wanted to protect the car. I think that shows you what kind of confidence they have in that car. But again, Christopher Bell says he has a lot to learn today, and he's going to have to do it quick because they are going to be running. They're going to be competing for a win. And again, with that communication factor being that new pair, they did the preseason Atlanta test together, and they think that's very beneficial when it comes for today here at the race.
Alan, thank you very much. Don't go away. We'll be right back with you for more news in just a few moments. But, guys, pretty significant news when you talk about that 3-car, a crew chief and a car chief getting kicked out of the garage before Daytona. Jeff, that's pretty significant.
It really is, because the fact that, NASCAR has pretty much thrown down the gauntlet a long time ago that they don't want you messing around with pivot points or anything in the back end of the car. They want the cars coming in. They want squared up a certain way, the chassis versus the body. And if you start working in that area, we've seen seen even the Cup level in the past, what happened to the Penske teams, same type of scenario right there. So, Casey, when they say don't touch, they mean don't touch.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's obviously NASCAR putting their foot down, and they're setting a precedent right out of the gate this year. Obviously, it's in the Xfinity Series, but I think the whole garage takes a good look at what's happened here, and they'll be keeping everybody on their toes.
Yeah, a little example.